To you, Louise, my dear friend, Janet shared her thoughts. She mentioned that your proposed suitor is like most men, focusing on personal gain when presented with a proposal. I voiced my discomfort about him being with others. Janet, I didn't imply he would be unfaithful. Louise, at 40, he's past his prime and unlikely to socialize with 20-year-olds regularly. Instead, he'll stay home with the children, allowing you to live your best life. I wondered if such a course of action might backfire, expressing concern about your friends' and colleagues' reactions. Louise, James harbors strong desires for you, Annie responded. By making a move, you'd enjoy yourself without any guilt, Marie added. Your husband will be preoccupied with work and children. Occasionally entertaining him should keep suspicions at bay. As our discussion progressed, the idea seemed more appealing. I had been contentedly married to Mark for 18 years, with 2 kids, a home, and regular vacations. We worked diligently, and generally, we were satisfied. However, as I neared 40, I felt a void in my life. Craving excitement, I found myself growing weary in our romantic relationship with my spouse, despite his affection. That's when Janet presented alternative scenarios, while colleagues at work discussed contemporary relationships. Uncertain if my husband would approve, my friends persisted in their persuasion. The following evening, I decided to broach the topic with him. I informed them I'd speak with him after dinner tomorrow night. Janet reassured me, saying he'd be grateful, and if needed, one of us could distract him. Although uneasy about my friends being around my husband, the prospect of multiple partners was appealing. The thought of having boyfriends seemed attractive, given my limited romantic history with only 3 past relationships that didn't last long and no experience with one-night stands. Young men at work served as reminders of my desirability, bolstering my self-assurance. Upon returning home, my spouse displayed no suspicions. As he embraced me, oblivious to the changes ahead, I worried about the outcome and shed a few anxious tears. On Sunday, we typically had family fun activities, but our teens preferred spending time with their friends. Dinner was underwhelming as they were preoccupied with their phones. My husband joked, "The only thing distracting me is you." I felt a pang of guilt, knowing about the conversation I was planning to have with him later. The evening progressed as usual. He implemented a no-phones rule, which they eventually acknowledged was beneficial. Later, I informed the kids, "I need to talk to your father privately. It's not suitable for young ears." Our daughter inquired enthusiastically, "Are you having another baby?" I reassured her, "Nothing like that." My husband seemed curious. "It's important," I said. He didn't know what to anticipate, but poured us both a glass of wine and sat opposite me, quiet yet focused. Although an extrovert by nature, he could be silent and introspective, embodying the philosophy, "Remain silent and appear foolish. Speak and eliminate all doubt." I collected my thoughts before asking him, "Are you content?" he questioned. "With what?" "In everything, our existence. I have a cherished spouse, 2 fantastic children, a comfortable abode. We lead content lives, boasting good professions and friendships. All seems well. Yet I find myself feeling restless. Yes, I adore you, but I crave more thrill. Am I not sufficient, Mark? This isn't about you, it's about my longings." I paused, taking a sip of wine. "You're restless?" you inquired. "Indeed," I responded. "I need more excitement. Does that make me insufficient for you, Mark? It's not about our relationship, it's about my desires." You stiffened, sipping your wine. I sense a change in the air. "Don't dismiss this as modern fad," I added. "Just tell me what you think." "Simplify things for me," you demanded. "What do you want?" "I yearn for an open relationship, Mark. I desire us to date other people." Your expression altered, and a flash of anger filled your eyes. You clutched your wine glass firmly. "Could you repeat that?" I asked calmly. "I long for an open relationship so we can interact with others romantically. Consider this. You could engage with younger partners," I suggested, carefully choosing my words. You remained silent, visibly upset. "No chance," you growled emphatically. "We pledged to forsake all others." "You still honor your vows seriously, don't you?" asked Mark, to which I replied, Yes, but circumstances can alter. We can continue to cherish and respect each other, yet I require this. His face contorted with pain, his jaw tensed, anger visible in his eyes, but he held back. He rose and walked towards the rear door. "Where are you headed?" I inquired. "To ponder," he responded. "My wife just told me she desires to be with others. I don't want her presence at this moment." His voice cracked as he departed, addressing me as a harlot. For the remainder of the night, I did not see him. The following morning, his half of the bed remained vacant. I bathed and proceeded to work, finding our children for breakfast, but no sign of Mark. "Where's your father?" I inquired. "He had left early for work," our daughter responded. "He mentioned he might return late," added our son. For the first time in our marriage, he departed without a farewell kiss. The act felt uncomfortable. At work, I messaged him that I loved him, purposefully omitting any reference to the previous night's conversation. At noon, I attempted to reach him, but only heard his voicemail, upon which I left an affectionate message about shared future and aging. Later, his car wasn't in sight when I arrived home. I worried he might be drinking away his troubles at a bar, but he returned later without any greeting. Only a brief acknowledgement before retreating outdoors followed. Our children seemed oblivious. As usual, he interacted with them during dinner, but barely spoke to me. Post-dinner, he sent the kids to their rooms under the pretext of needing to discuss something with me. This time there was no wine served. He sat facing me, visibly distressed. "I'm aware you won't let this pass, Louise," he declared. "Your friends are influencing you with their irrational ideas. Today I researched open relationships. If I prohibit it, you might stray, and either way, I'll lose." He surrendered with a raised hand. "All right, you have your way, but there must be rules. No men are allowed in our house." "I won't do that," I reassured him. "Our bedroom remains untouched by others. Lovers should use protection before engaging without first testing for STDs. Uninterested in dating or encountering your partners, I made it clear. Our fun would dwindle if you were involved with someone else. From this point forward, I disclaim any responsibility for your romantic, emotional, or physical needs. Is this comprehensible to you?" His mind absorbed by thoughts of other lovers, I didn't fully grasp his message. Assuming we could date casually for a couple of years and then return to our previous relationship, I let it slide. His anger dissipated, replaced by contempt. In his eyes, I saw pain, recognizing it was my fault. Yet, the advice from a friend echoed in my mind. Be selfish this time. He'd move on eventually. That night, he didn't join me in bed. Alone, I installed dating apps, crafted my profile, and awaited responses. Then I phoned Janet. "So, how did it go?" she asked with excitement. He agreed, though he isn't pleased. His pride is hurt, but he'll cope. "Modern young men are impressive, or perhaps I just got lucky. James at work seems keen on me." For the remainder of the week, our home was filled with frostiness. The children seemed to have observed my husband scarcely interacting with me, but they didn't comment on it. He retreated to our bed, yet exhibited no affection. He sang a goodnight song without offering a hug or kiss. On Friday, I informed him that I was going out with the girls that evening. He subtly indicated approval, offered a familiar look, and then departed without another word. In preparation for a possible significant argument, I had already packed a bag. I bid farewell to the kids, informing them I might return home late. At work, my colleagues were delighted about my plans. I shared my change of clothes with them, escalating their enthusiasm. I sent a photo to Janet, who assured me something would transpire that night. I spent the afternoon assuring 3 young men that I was now free to socialize outside of home. "Are you really?" James questioned when I invited him for drinks. "Did your spouse give his consent?" "Please don't bring him up. Just understand that I will be at the nearest bar with my friends. If you plan to arrive, you might have to pass time with me." He inquired, certain. I revealed the location, and he smiled, confirming his presence there. Following lunch, a colleague murmured, "Are you actually planning to keep James company so soon?" I replied nonchalantly, "Why not? My spouse consented, so I'm not squandering time." She chuckled. "You're on Tinder." I laughed in response. "In just one day, I've garnered a lot of attention. Young men seem to appreciate older women. My husband can't keep up with that. And how does he handle it? We don't discuss it. He stays at home taking care of the kids." "Does that seem fair?" she asked, smiling. "Who says it's fair? They agreed to it. If they can't find other women, that's their problem." I wasn't certain if my husband would even seek another woman. Given his monogamous nature, his agreement seemed odd. I tried to concentrate on work, but found myself frequently texting Janet. At 5 p.m., I adjusted my attire, applied more makeup, and joined Janet and the girls. Soon, we were surrounded by young men, and James arrived, visibly thrilled to see me. We occupied a booth and conversed. When I proposed we head to our reserved hotel room, he nearly forced me out, elated by my friend's applause. In the hotel room, we rushed at each other. Afterward, I bathed, dressed, and departed, disregarding the receptionist's disapproving stare. At home, I discovered an empty bedroom and Mark in his study. Gently shaking him, he awoke and faced me with chilly, expressionless eyes. "Go back to sleep, Louise," he said, turning away from me. "Are you coming to bed?" "I'm already in bed. I told you the rules, Louise. You think I'll sleep next to you after tonight? Fine then," he sneered. Back in the bedroom, I altered my clothes and climbed into bed, feeling his absence. If he wished to brood and sleep apart, that was his concern. If this persisted, I wouldn't return home. For the initial few months, I confined my date nights to Fridays and Saturdays, attempting to sustain our relationship. But he seldom shared a bed with me now, and the children were taking notice. When I inquired about the matter, Mark responded angrily, suggesting to address what I had requested of him to the others. "You consented," I countered. "Under duress," he retorted. "You were going to have your fun regardless. But I wasn't granting you a divorce. You weren't taking the children away. I would never do that. Louise, your actions are hurting them. They are aware of the situation. I wouldn't even touch you now. I don't know what sexually transmitted diseases you may have." His words left me speechless. I knew he was enraged, but his fury and hostility were palpable. I contemplated slapping him, knowing he would retaliate more forcefully. The distance between us grew, leaving our marriage in name only. We hadn't shared intimacy since I requested an open relationship. Did I miss him? Yes, I missed loving my husband and his embrace. However, I was not prepared to abandon my new lifestyle. Nearly every weekend, I had a fresh date from Tinder. My social engagements escalated to include weeknights and weekends due to regular meetings with Janet and the girls. On occasion, I would stay at either Janet's house or a friend's place when too intoxicated to drive home safely. I began keeping extra clothes at work or Janet's place for convenience. After 6 months, there were stretches where I hardly visited home. I was living my most enjoyable life, yet remained oblivious to the havoc I was wreaking on my marriage and family. To lay it all out, the night my wife requested an open marriage, my affection for her ceased. Some might ponder how I could lose love after 20 years, but betrayal and disrespect can bring about such a change. With a few simple words, she violated our vows. It felt like a justification for infidelity without guilt. As I calmed down outside, I knew I had to approach this rationally. It was evident her friends had coached her. I reached out to Emily. "Hello, Mark." "Hello, Emily. What's wrong? We've been friends for 35 years. You can't deceive me." All the anger and resentment spilled out. I despised my wife due to her actions that left me emotionally wounded, though I can't recall my exact choice of words. "Are you seated, Mark?" "No, take a seat and listen. This won't resemble my predicament with Adam. You must act differently. Depend on me." "What steps should I take? Although a part of me yearns to depart, I can't abandon the children. Custody fights seldom favor men. I don't wish to become a partial father. Remain married for practicality. Shut off your emotions. Don't be her comfort. The idea of making love to her after being with another is repulsive. Indeed, detach emotionally from her, but maintain the household and children. Concentrate on yourself and them. Visit the gym. Find new interests. Reunite with friends. Above all, be present for the children. They'll comprehend the situation. She'll attend to her own needs and might eventually depart. What if she finds love elsewhere? Then she'll have to decide. Maintain the family in name alone. One part of me yearns to depart now, yet another craves staying with the children. Employ the gray rock method. Display indifference towards her. Make interactions brief and devoid of emotion. Likely it will succeed. Her lack of interest in you suggests focus on the kids. If divorce occurs, wait until the youngest is 18. Coexist as neighbors if needed. Thanks, Emily. You're always there for me, Mark. Prioritize your children and self. Regarding forgiveness, no. We'll merely be roommates for now. Maintain this mindset. Avoid any irrational actions. I promise to safeguard myself. Where will you rest tonight? Not in the matrimonial bed. I'll make a visit soon. You'll require friends during this time. Thanks, Emily. One more thing. Despite the difficulty, take advantage of the situation. Women find you attractive. You're successful, trim, and handsome. An excellent father. Go on dates. Reflect a moment. You're entitled to happiness as well. Enduring the gray rock approach was challenging, and I've lashed out at Louise multiple times. Each time, my self-reproach followed. Yet, her desires were met, so why should she worry? The initial night she spent with another person came close to annihilating me. She even audaciously asked for my company in bed. I barely held back from venting my feelings. Any lingering affection for her faded that night. I'll always cherish her as the mother of our children, but the passion has waned. I steeled myself, preparing for what's to come. Adhering to Emily's counsel, I concentrated on myself and the kids. I resumed gym visits, employed a personal trainer, and took up cooking for the kids, fostering a connection with my daughter. When Louise began vanishing over weekends, I sought assistance from my younger sister. She criticized me for enduring it, but understood when I clarified that it was for the children's sake. You ought to depart with Emily, she suggested. You should have chosen her instead, you mumbled, better off unaware, when asked about Louise's location. When was the last time you visited the boxing gym? She questioned. I'm not keen on discussing it. Emily suggested finding a woman for a brief encounter. My sister chuckled. 3 of my friends are still smitten with you. The gym workouts seem beneficial, don't they? I feel more active than I have in years. During sparring, I often think about her or her partners, as long as I don't assault her. We last spoke a week ago at dinner. Our conversations revolve around the children now. She's always engrossed in her phone. I noticed multiple dating apps filled with messages. I no longer care. She's my wife in name only. A complete floozy, my sister murmured. You silently agreed, yet remained quiet about it. Emily was the person I relied on most. The children cherished Aunt Emily. As their mother became distant, they valued Emily's presence, particularly your daughter. Evenings were frequently spent with Emily, occasionally snuggling, but not extensively so. At dinner one night, my daughter questioned, Dad, why do you tolerate this? Louise would occasionally return for dinner, oblivious to the majority of my belongings being moved from our shared bed. My son chimed in, Yep, people at school made fun of us because they labeled you as our mom, but we followed along. They continued, We're not unique. Many kids have parents who are divorced or unconventional. I sighed, looking at Emily, who gave me a disapproving glance. Has Mom ever clarified the situation to you? I asked. My daughter responded, Not really. She just mentioned things might alter in the future. My son added, Dad, we're not children anymore. We know all about it from the internet. Just tell us. They emphasized, We won't judge you, at least you're here. I recall it's been a while since Mom said anything to me. My daughter wiped her tears, and Emily immediately gave her a hug. I won't go into specifics, kids, I explained, but I can't promise everything will change in the future. Our relationship transformed due to your mom's actions, and I conceded to preserve our home. Your question about love, my dear, was met with a straightforward response, No, I do not feel love for her anymore. The spark extinguished when she made that request, and it faded completely upon her late return from her first date. You're worried if she still loves us. Yes, she professes to, but the sentiment doesn't seem genuine to me. Your mother finds peculiar ways to express affection, my child. I acknowledge my share in the situation. Just know that I will remain your father, and I will always be there for you, ready to support whenever needed. Your sister is extending a helping hand as well, and she assures you of her presence too. You both bring joy to me, a joy I had lost for some time. Emily's smile at me was one of understanding, while your brother's words made my cheeks redden. Emily's affection seems to have a positive impact on me, bringing back the smiles that were absent for quite some time. A number of months passed swiftly, and our lives underwent a transformation. I constructed an extension onto the house, creating my personal space, encompassing a bedroom, office, and living area. The children were ecstatic, and we could all enjoy activities together. During times when I worked from home, they kept me company. When Emily visited, we had our own separate space. I distanced myself from my wife while she was at home, primarily communicating through texts. I didn't pay much attention to her occupation, as her income still went into a shared account, ensuring bills were paid. Incrementally, I severed ties with her, including removing her as the beneficiary on life insurance policies, all for the benefit of our children. Emily spent numerous nights at my place, but our relationship was not physical. We shared the same bed, yet she recognized that I wasn't prepared. I continued to wear my wedding ring, feeling like I was still a husband. Emily didn't try to hurry me. She simply comforted me and whispered words of love, promising to wait as long as I required. "She's an idiot," Emily murmured one night. "She has no idea what she's given up, and you are still obligated to go on dates." "I'm patient, Mark," she said, smiling. Admittedly, after gaining my independence, I indulged in some spontaneity. For nearly 2 decades, I was a devoted wife and mother. It felt right to explore life on my terms. Yes, my husband followed suit, making use of our open relationship as well. He consented. He could have refused, and while we might have disputed, I would have comprehended. Deep within, I know I wouldn't have betrayed him, but I did let loose with Tinder dates. Not all were fruitful, but numerous young men showed interest in spending time with me at hotels. Time passed as I lived vividly while managing bills and staying connected with the children. My husband shunned me at home, and we barely communicated. The void of my family's absence struck me when I attempted a weekend at home. Interactions with my husband were akin to speaking to a wall, focusing solely on the kids. I yearned for him and the children, yet found myself engrossed in an enjoyable spree that made me hesitant to quit. Upon entering through the main door, I called out, "Hi, I'm back." The lights were illuminated, but silence met my greeting. In the kitchen, my spouse and kids were dining with Emily present, a lifelong friend of mine. As I approached them, I avoided meeting my husband's gaze, recognizing his continued disdain in his eyes. "Why are you here?" our daughter asked, her voice sharp. "I came to spend time with my family," was my reply. She sneered at me, a smirk playing on her lips. Our son turned to Emily instead. "May I join too?" I asked my husband. "No," he responded emotionlessly. Changes in the household caught my eye. The living room resembled a museum, the kitchen had been repainted, and our photographs were absent. In our bedroom, it was clear my spouse hadn't used it for some time. Beyond double doors lay an expansive living area with a sleeping zone and entertainment center. "What's this?" I inquired. "This is my section of the house," Mark stated blandly. "Why did you construct it? Why didn't you inform me?" He stayed quiet, but his eyes conveyed his thoughts. My children smirked, and Emily held my hand discreetly under the table. "What are you doing here, Mom?" our daughter questioned. "Shouldn't you be out on a date with one of your boyfriends?" I directed my gaze towards my spouse. "Have the kids been inquiring about your whereabouts?" I asked. "I won't deceive them for you. It was your decision." "I haven't been home much over the past few months," our son mentioned. "I'm taken aback to see you here." "What are you doing here?" our daughter reiterated. We were enjoying a pleasant meal until you arrived and made it uncomfortable. I looked at my husband. Will you rectify our children's attitudes, Mark? No, he replied, avoiding eye contact with me but focusing on Emily. Our kids are teenagers and entitled to their views. Are you aware of their age? You missed my birthday, our daughter stated. You missed us winning the championship final, our son mentioned. After finishing their meal, Emily signaled for them to move to another room, allowing me to converse with my husband. I stood there, apparently speechless as Mark rose, retrieved a beer from the fridge, and leaned against the counter, taking sips for a while before inquiring, "Why have you come here, Louise?" "I wanted to spend time with my family this weekend." He looked away, then nodded. "Good luck with that. I'm engaged tonight and throughout the weekend. Regarding the children, feel free to ask them." Facing me, he reminded, "Recall our agreements, Louise. I don't mind your current activities, but try talking to the kids if you wish. Just don't expect much." Following a conversation with them for 5 minutes, I recognized that neither wanted any interaction with me. Exhaling, I returned to the bedroom, feeling isolated in my own home. "All right," I muttered. "If this is the situation, I'll simply depart. Goodbye for now." My daughter retorted sarcastically. I snatched my bag, exited hurriedly, and slammed the car door, accidentally hitting the steering wheel in annoyance. Time drifted as I blamed everything on my husband until I recalled his expression when I initially made the suggestion and the night I returned from my first date. That indifferent gaze sent a chill down my spine. I questioned if I had destroyed everything of value. Had he been right? Had my friends misguided me? Perhaps their husbands would have tolerated it, but Mark was always proud. Recognizing the truth of our agreement, I cried more intensely. He had cut off all connection from me completely. We were only married for convenience, and I doubted we'd ever revert to how things once were. I couldn't confide in my friends. They'd share responsibility for my marriage's demise. Driving aimlessly, I eventually stopped at a bar. Inside, I ordered a drink, which soon became multiple ones. "Is this seat occupied?" a sympathetic voice inquired. A man looked at me. "Not taken," I said, sniffling, yet uncertain about being good company. "Perhaps you could benefit from companionship. It seems disheartening to see a woman sitting alone, looking forlorn and troubled." He took a seat, purchased a drink, and suggested one for me. "Do you need someone to converse with?" "I'm unsure if you'd want to hear my tale." "Is it that tragic?" As I reflect, I question if I've destroyed everything. He extended his hand. "I'm Tom, and who might you be?" I took his hand. "Louise. Now we're no longer acquaintances. It seems something or someone has shattered your heart. Are you confident in my willingness to listen to this?" "I have all the time in the world." I shared my story with him, and he listened, giving reassuring nods. Once I finished, he ordered another round for us. "Would you prefer to salvage your relationship, Louise?" "Frankly, I'm uncertain if my husband will ever reconcile our bond. He only harbors anger towards me." "How can conversation bring resolution if he refuses to speak to me?" "I merely yearn for my spouse to express affection towards me once more. Other men do not stir the same feelings in me. They serve only as diversions. Over-consuming alcohol, I became incapable of driving. Tom proposed I stay at a hotel or accept his offer to accompany him home. He resides alone and has spare rooms, he assured me. "No strings attached, Louise," he added. I consented. Tom arranged a taxi, and I retrieved my overnight bag from the vehicle. His residence lay across town. Upon entering, he guided me through the house, showing me the room I would occupy. We shared a nightcap on the couch, seated beside each other. "You're a stunning woman, Louise," he murmured, placing his hand on my thigh. "Have you ever considered seeking companions who make you feel cherished?" "I don't desire to fall in love with another individual," I responded. "Love need not be confined to one person," he countered. I found him attractive and distinct from my husband. "I won't dictate your life choices, Louise," he emphasized. The next morning, in casual attire, I encountered him in the kitchen. After a cheek-kiss greeting, We shared breakfast and began to converse. Shockingly, he too was part of an open relationship. I'm transparent with every woman I meet. I don't wear my wedding ring when my wife isn't present because it's bothersome, but I always disclose the truth before intimacy. My wife and I only reunite once a month. Do you have kids? They've grown and primarily reside with my wife. Do you maintain multiple partners? In my earlier years, I was intimate with any interested woman. Now, I prefer genuine relationships. As he sipped his coffee, he inquired, "What are your weekend plans, Louise?" "None at the moment. Would you care to join me instead?" He grasped my hand. I had seen a distressed, beautiful woman last night and wished to console her. Additionally, I hoped she'd take interest in me. I smiled. "I would cherish spending the weekend with you, Tom." Tom was financially comfortable. The man's house was lavish, his vehicle beyond our financial reach. Post our day together, he escorted me to a premium restaurant. We danced until the wee hours, and I was the one who initiated the kiss, causing him to smile. In the cab on our way home, I nestled against him. After midnight at his place, we enjoyed drinks while conversing softly before retiring to his bedroom. On Sunday morning, Tom offered advice. He clarified that his open marriage functioned due to him and his wife living separately and both consenting to it. I had taken my husband by surprise and compelled him to agree. Tom urged me to reconcile with my children. He suggested finding a way to make our relationship work. He also recommended healing things with Mark, who appeared to be a decent man. "He's an exceptional man, nearly as good as your wife." "I cherish my wife and anticipate retiring with her soon. When I return home, this all concludes. I wonder what she thinks. She misses me but maintains relationships with 2 other men when I'm away. When I'm home, she focuses all her attention on me. It appears that things are going well for you too. How does she feel about it?" After a shared afternoon, he drove me back to my car at the bar. With his arm around me, I felt like I may have been misguided. One-night stands were entertaining, but they left an emptiness emotionally. Tom, a reasonable man, provided me with wise counsel on how to restore harmony in my marriage. Maintain contact with your husband. Your children are the priority. Work on rebuilding that relationship. I'll make the effort. When can we meet again? Whenever you desire. I'm not involved with anyone else, but I won't be upset if you meet someone else. I might find another semi-permanent partner. He chuckled, and I appreciated his tone. Now you're thinking logically, Louise. You've had your fun, and that's acceptable. But now you understand that you require something more substantial and enduring. Perhaps partners who genuinely care for you. I embraced him firmly. "I'll call you soon," I said. Anticipating it, Louise. After seeing him depart, I climbed into my vehicle. Inhaling deeply, I drove home, pondering how to communicate this to my family. I dropped by Janet's residence to retrieve my belongings. She appeared poised to quarrel, but I expressed my desire to abandon frivolous entertainment and instead seek a genuine relationship. She wished me luck on my departure. Upon arriving home, it was past due. I assembled my wardrobe and proceeded to the kitchen. Noise emanated from my husband's room. I suppressed sobs, recognizing that he had partitioned our lives without concluding the divorce. Our son Matthew was engrossed in a video game on a novel TV, while our daughter Zara studied nearby. Outside, I observed my husband embracing a woman other than Emily on the new terrace. Matthew signaled to Zara, who removed her headphones. Kneeling between them, I took their hands, and tears streamed down my face. "Please believe that I still love you," I said. "I'm sorry for what I missed." Matthew's lips trembled as he questioned, "Mom, why are you always gone?" I enfolded him tightly in response, saying, "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I miss you too, and I promise to do better." His next question pierced my heart. "Are you with other men?" I evaded the question, stating, "Let's not discuss that, Matthew. That's for your father and me to handle." I kissed his cheeks and messed up his hair, promising, "I'll make an effort to attend all your games next season." Zara's disbelief was evident on her face. She accused, "Mom, you broke Daddy's heart." Defending herself, she retorted, I'm not too young to understand. The age-old argument ensued, with Zara breaking down in tears and fleeing the scene. Mark remained unnoticed until I felt his presence. He asked coldly, "Are you staying for dinner, Louise?" I responded, "I'll make more of an effort to be here." A young, beautiful woman then approached us asking, "Is this your wife, Mark?" She appeared to be no older than 25. "I'm Cindy," I stated. "Why the restriction on visitors, Mark?" I inquired. "She's here for companionship. Frankly, it's none of your business to dictate my decisions. We have an independent relationship. Recall that? I'm merely asserting my rights." I felt a mix of resentment and envy as Mark and Zara prepared dinner, with Cindy sipping wine and smiling at him. My daughter had always been close to her father, but they appeared unusually intimate now. Mark politely seated me at the table, but I was overlooked. He continued his dialogue with Cindy and Zara. Post-dinner, Mark escorted Cindy to her car. He waved as she departed, then re-entered the house. "Mark," I whispered. He paused, looking at me without animosity or frostiness. There was no smile, yet he seemed content. "May we converse, Mark?" he sighed, appearing tired. "On what, Louise? On us? I am still your spouse. You are still my husband. My feelings for you remain unchanged. I never desired this situation." I feared he might erupt with fury, but instead, he balled his fists and sat down. "In our agreement, Louise, you opted for an open relationship. I complied. When last did we share a bed? After you dated other men, I can't share a bed with my wife. Recall my words. No emotional bond, no physical support. If love and affection are what you crave, seek them elsewhere. This is what you desired. I was content in our marriage. Now I'm merely a married man in name." "Who is she?" I queried. "Did you bring another woman into our house?" He retorted directly. "Nothing happened here," he added, "and her identity is none of your concern. I don't care who you associate with, and the same goes for me." He gazed at me with pity. "Everything that transpired is a result of your choices, Louise. I warned you. Be mindful of what you wish for. You got what you wanted, but overlooked its effect on our family." Later, in the living room, I watched TV when my son emerged. I patted the seat next to me, and he joined me. "Do you miss your mother?" I inquired. "Yes," he replied. That night, I decided to avoid sleeping with my spouse, so I navigated towards Mark's part of the house instead. One door was shut, while the other stood open slightly. Inside, I found Mark on the couch alongside our crying daughter, who appeared terrified. I knew it was my presence that had caused this distress. If I entered, the situation could escalate. Overwhelmed, I softly closed the door and made my way to my bedroom, which no longer felt like ours, as I doubted my husband's return. Emily's advice echoed in my mind. If my wife could find pleasure elsewhere, so could I. Intrigued, I connected with several young women attracted to a successful 40-year-old man. Friends and colleagues facilitated these encounters with acquaintances they knew. I wasn't interested in anyone too young, but Cindy, age 25, was irresistibly charming. Charlotte, 28, was a career-focused woman yearning for love on her terms. Melissa, in her early 30s, was a lawyer with exceptional skills in intimacy. Lastly, there was Jessica, a 21-year-old whose father was one of my colleagues, openly expressing her interest in me. On our initial date, she expressed her preference for attractive older men. "Mark, can I speak candidly?" she asked. "Of course." To which she confessed, "Your wife is not the sharpest tool in the shed. The fact that this setup works is surprising. I've felt envious at times, but I knew it wouldn't last forever. I sought someone to make me feel cherished, and everyone knows about Emily. It seems she has extended her deadline. Yes, now I have a whole year of freedom. Do you think she's apprehensive about committing to you? Perhaps. We've always been in love, but it's been on a platonic level. Then, you should demonstrate your feelings for her. How can you be so young and insightful? All your girlfriends find this a sensible idea. We all admire Emily and believe the two of you are destined for each other." Jessica clung to me. "Don't feel guilty. Sometimes, a woman needs to express her desire for you." The following morning, we shared breakfast, after which I drove her home. Following a lengthy kiss, she entered her house with a dreamy expression on her face. I knew the news would reach my workplace soon enough. Upon returning home, Matthew was shouting into his gaming headset. At the table, Zara was engrossed in her own affairs. I planted a kiss on her head and cheek. Have you both been all right these past nights? I'm 16 now, Dad. I can manage on my own. As for your brother, he hasn't been too pushy. Any news of Mom? None since Wednesday. Reasonable enough. What would you like for dinner? We ate together. Matthew finished swiftly and resumed his game. Zara flashed me a grin as we tidied up. I fetched a beer and headed to the deck. Zara seated herself on my lap there. Dad, are you content? Contentment varies. Am I content with you? Yes, I adore my kids. But am I content with my circumstances? No. Satisfied with my personal life aside from Mom? Yes, quite at ease. I suspect she has a new partner now. That's good for her. Don't you mind much? No, dear. We lead separate lives. The only aspects we share are you two, some finances, this house, and legal ties. We weren't meant to be entwined. You thought her absences would become evident, yet I wouldn't falsify information for her. I strove not to follow suit, but she exhibited it as though I couldn't match her actions. You've encountered some captivating women, Father. Indeed, I have 4 enchanting women who are aware of my marital status. They realize it's temporary. They understand I'm not leaving my marriage on account of Emily. Father, are you infatuated with her? Zara whispered, seldom addressing me as father except for significant matters. I drew her nearer, contemplating her query. Emily is my dearest friend, Zara. She has stood by my side longer than anyone. I've assisted her through heartbreaks and even defended her against those who mistreated her. It appears to be the hallmark of love, Father. Mother took my affection for granted. Emily never did that. We've never been in a romantic relationship, but I trust her more than anyone. Mother was aware of this. Emily cautioned her that if she hurt me, she might long to be with me. Is Emily's persistence fun for you amidst it all? Emily is well aware of my actions and supports me wholeheartedly, which is what friends do. But I'll be overjoyed when you propose to her. Wait, did she say something? No, but her words suggest happiness for you. Your wife hasn't brought you joy since her recent demand. Are you planning a divorce soon? No. She lives her life while I live mine. After our children leave home, we may consider it. Emily arrived on Tuesday night, and my daughter seemed to act as a matchmaker throughout her stay. My son remained oblivious, but I couldn't help but glare at my daughter. Once they retired for the night, Emily nestled against me, looping her arm around my waist. She began to chuckle. Your daughter wasn't discreet today, Mark, she murmured. Yes, she's been mentioning our potential marriage. Emily moved closer. What are your thoughts on that idea? We need a divorce first. Do you have feelings for me, Mark? Apart from my children and Louise, there is no one I love more. Emily, my feelings for Louise have changed, so while your children hold a special place, you seem to occupy another significant space in my heart now. Previously, Louise was my romantic partner. Our lives were intertwined through marriage and children. However, lately, I find myself thinking about you frequently. I appreciate what Louise did by giving me 2 wonderful children. That night, you stayed with me. There was no physical intimacy. We weren't ready for it. My daughter was delighted to have you at breakfast. My son took it casually and spoke about his mother's apology and intention to spend more time with us. He mentioned that your presence had increased, and you were yet to accept Louise's standing dinner invitation. As we walked to your car, you suggested spending another night together. I agreed, clarifying that our arrangement did not involve physical intimacy, a rule we both seemed to abide by. Later in the week, Louise returned home expecting a family dinner, but I had plans with Cindy. She pleaded for me to stay, and as I left, I gave her a neutral expression. Mark, remain here, said he. It isn't my doing, Louise. We could, but I have commitments. Our offspring were aware that I wouldn't be present tonight. I shall see them tomorrow. Couldn't you stay, please, for me? She met my gaze, then I departed the room. Cindy awaited me at the pub, a secret I wished to keep from Louise. It wasn't her concern. He despises me, I grumbled, seeking solace in Tom. I retired to bed alone that night, but cherished these occasions with Tom, which often transpired thrice weekly. A second regular companion had yet to materialize, and my philandering was less frequent. I believe our relationship has reached its end, Tom, I confided. Do you know where Mark's been going? You realize my daughter tells me about every woman he dates. She longs for his divorce from me and marriage to Emily, his closest friend. These other women, they frequent the house. Mark prepares meals for them, meals he used to prepare for me. As for your daughter, she isn't pleased with you. She revels in the demise of our union. She attributes all faults to me. Daddy's darling. Pausing to gather my feelings, I continued, she's not content with you. I shattered his emotional well-being, Tom. He's distant now, but our daughter perceives his thoughts. What's next? I ponder. I'm uncertain of how to salvage our matrimony since Mark refuses to communicate with me. Our discussions are confined to the children or financial matters. I text him about my longing for him, but he remains unresponsive. I refrain from calling because I anticipate he won't answer. Tom provided solace by embracing me intimately. If I couldn't reclaim my husband, Tom was someone I found enjoyable in his company. Another gentleman, Daniel, showed interest yet hesitant about dating a married woman. Despite my promises that my marriage was deteriorating, I cherished our time together. He treated me on dates, we spent weekends together, and engaged in profound discussions. We attempted to avoid mentioning other partners, but occasionally they surfaced. A few months later, we found ourselves in bed. I have a query, Tom said. Go ahead, Tom. Would you be open to joining me on trips? He asked. I frequently travel for business in the US and Europe. I won't feel lonely with a beautiful woman by my side. What about your wife? She's got commitments that prevent her from joining me. I'd be grateful if you could accompany me. Really? I enjoy your company and would be happy to spend time with you while you're away. For how long are you planning to stay? I might be gone for a couple of weeks to a month, depending on the progress of my deals. I'll have to inform the kids about it. Of course. I know your daughter is 17 and your son is 15. How was her birthday? It was somewhat awkward. Both families are aware of the circumstances. I thought she didn't want me there, but it seems Mark insisted on my presence. There may still be some affection left. He understands our relationship with our daughter is strained, but our son still adores me. I communicate with him frequently and make an effort to call him every night. When do you need to know about my departure? As soon as possible. I'm leaving for the US on Thursday. On Monday, upon returning home, I found no guests present. Mark was cooking dinner with Zara, and they both turned to look at me when I entered. Are you here for dinner? Mark asked. Yes, I am. Are you upset with my absence on our upcoming trip? It's your house, Louise. I nearly cried at his kindness. Matthew observed me, approached, and embraced me. He was growing taller by the day and would soon match his father's height. For the first time in months, we four shared a meal together. We spoke little, yet I couldn't help but smile at my husband. I continued to hold on to hope for our marriage. Post-dinner, Mark served dessert ice cream with chocolate drizzle. The atmosphere lightened, but I knew my revelation would spoil the moment. Mark, I understand if you don't wish to discuss my endeavors, but Tom has invited me on a business trip. I may not be around for a couple of weeks up to a month. If it impacts our children, I'll listen, Louise, he responded. Tom wants me to accompany him, as his wife refuses to go. This means I won't be home often. It's fine, Mom, Matthew stated. Where will you travel? The United States and Europe, I replied. Zara remained silent, her countenance unchanged. Looking at Mark, who had a hard-to-decipher expression, he posed an unexpected query. Do you love him? I responded softly. I love you, Mark. As your spouse, I am still your wife and you're my husband. This wasn't what you asked, Louise. Instead, you inquired, "Do you love him?" "To be honest, I'm not sure. I do enjoy his company." I shifted my gaze, then back to him. "And do you love everyone with whom you share time?" He smirked and began clearing the table. Zara stood up to assist him, signaling that our discussion was concluded. Seeking solace, I retreated to the living room, finding comfort when Matthew joined me later. That night, as I lay in bed, the door opened, revealing a warm embrace. It took a moment to recognize it was my son. "I'm sorry, Mom," he murmured, turning away. In response, I hugged him tightly and shed tears. He caressed my back and whispered his love, which provided comfort. "Thank you, dear one," I replied softly. For the next 2 nights, I stayed at home before setting out with Tom. During our initial journey together, Mark and Zara were courteous yet mostly indifferent towards me, while Matthew displayed affection, perceiving my solitude. I attempted to clarify matters with him, to which he responded, "Dad mentioned we should stay in contact with you." This comment brought a smile to my face. Preparing for Thursday's departure, I packed for Tom to fetch me. Upon descending, Mark had already departed for work, and the children were having breakfast. Zara barely spoke to me, as anticipated. As she was departing, I asked for a hug. She softened slightly and gave me a brief one. "I truly adore you, Zara," I whispered. "You're my firstborn." She responded gently that she hoped I enjoyed myself and left. Matthew asked for photos if I were sightseeing and hugged me before departure. A few minutes later, Tom arrived to pick me up. In the subsequent months, I traveled extensively with Tom, visiting North and South America, Asia, and Europe. He covered all expenses, and I was presented as his companion. A fondness grew within me for him. He exhibited romance and generosity. One day, scrolling through social media, I stumbled upon updates I'd missed. Mark hadn't blocked me. Instead, he was sharing family news. Pictures of him with the kids in New Zealand made me feel upset, as neither Mark nor the children had mentioned the trip beforehand. Seeing Emily in numerous photos caused the most pain. After lunch, Tom discovered me crying. He embraced me and inspected my phone. "I think I'm partially responsible," he said. "Perhaps you should take a break from traveling for a while and reconnect with the kids." "Are you certain about that, Louise?" He flashed me a smile. "I love you, Louise." This brought a smile to my face. We had expressed our affection during our first trip, yet I struggled with the idea of leaving my wife. Introducing children into our relationship I wasn't sure. Upon returning home, I made an effort to spend more time at home and with Tom. It was challenging to meet up with Mark, but eventually I managed one evening. "You took the kids to New Zealand," I questioned. "Why?" "I wanted them to have a well-deserved vacation, as they hadn't had one in years." "Why leave me out?" he explained. "You were with your boyfriend then, and I would have canceled the plan." Turning towards me, he said, "I'm not pretending to be a happy family for your sake, Louise. I wanted to take our children on a trip. You're always traveling with your boyfriend. Emily joined us just for companionship while the kids enjoyed themselves." Emily is my best friend and has been my support since this arrangement began. I invited her over for company. "What about Christmas? Don't you have any plans? Are we not involved?" he responded. "That depends on you, Louise." "Mark, if only you would discuss things with me." His eyes grew cold. "We have nothing left to discuss. Since the night you made your request, your feelings about our marriage have been clear. Mark, I miss you. I want my husband back. I can't remember when we last shared a bed. And it's all your fault, Louise. I refuse to be intimate with a wife who desires other men, but you agreed to it." He laughed, shaking his head. "You're not comprehending my perspective. I never desired this situation. I wanted my wife to remain faithful. Due to your insistence on an open relationship, I had no choice but to conform or risk losing you. Regardless, I suffered a loss. I would never betray you, Mark. Your eagerness to be with other men is what puzzles me, Louise. Don't presume I'm gullible, Mark. You're involved with other women too. Don't make this predicament seem like it's solely my fault." He moved nearer, his anger subsiding. "Your friend Janet was the source of your misconceptions. Do you know her husband expelled her? She squandered time partying and inviting men into their home while he tended to the children. I was astounded. I hadn't interacted with Janet in months and never anticipated her being so disrespectful towards her partner. It dawned on me that Mark might have known everything along. I can't fathom what they would say. Louise, he spoke, devoid of emotion. You sought guidance from people who wrecked our marriage. There's no reversing this. He advanced again. Why did you do it, Louise? Was I a poor husband or lover? Did I make you unhappy? I was growing weary. The proposition wasn't appropriate. Using boredom as a reason to suggest other men isn't fair to your spouse. As I looked into your eyes, tears welled up. I couldn't express myself without further damaging our marriage. I'd asked for something selfish, forced you into something detested, and heeded poor advice. My friends portrayed dating as thrilling, which appealed to me. They shared tales of benefits and prospects in an open relationship, and they spoke about the husband who had to cope with that. Janet argued it was always unjust. I never wanted anyone else, Mark, you said sorrowfully. Until that night, I was a contented spouse. Your suggestion showed disregard for me and our marriage. I sighed. Since the night you agreed to the arrangement, we hadn't spoken like this. I knew this marked the end of our marriage. Your love for me as my husband had waned, at least to some extent. What do we do now, Mark? Should we maintain this arrangement until the kids turn 18? After making a decision, I broke down in tears. To my surprise, he wrapped his arms around me, shattering me emotionally. I clung to him tightly. Although I knew he didn't love me, it seemed he didn't want to see me cry either. The affection had vanished, but the animosity was also gone. We'll celebrate Christmas together, Louise, he said, but my life is independent now. Our marriage is essentially over. You should be aware of that by now. You're clinging on to something dead and decayed. Even if I halt everything, you are changed now, as am I. I can't bear to lose you, Mark. You're my spouse, and I still care for you. He sighed but held on, tenderly stroking my back. Silent, he knew the reality already. I understood his thoughts and future actions. Hatred didn't well within me towards him. Eventually, he released me, allowing me to wipe my eyes. Meeting his gaze, there was no warmth, only understanding of my feelings. Would you like some dinner? He asked, almost making me cry again. It had been a while since we shared a meal. We prepared a straightforward and satisfying dish. The dialogue was somewhat strained, and certain subjects were taboo, but following a couple of beers, we began to reminisce. Where are the children? I eventually asked. Zara is out with pals. Matthew is at a slumber party. I've just been savoring some solitude. It's all right, Louise. I believe we required this conversation. Zara despises me. He shook his head. No, she doesn't detest you. She's Daddy's girl and doesn't appreciate her mom having a boyfriend. What does she feel about Daddy having a girlfriend? He laughed. I believe she's a bit envious. She feels neglected. Do you love Emily, Mark? You know I love Emily. She's been my best friend for most of my life. Are you with her now? No. She's been there to provide support. She won't be with me until we finalize the divorce. My emotions overcame me, and I couldn't suppress the tears. Are you committed to this divorce? Are you content in our marriage? We've had our longest chat in a year. I can't help wishing things were as they used to be, but we can't rewind time. The past is the past. He invited me to join him for a drink in his cozy cabin, adorned with affectionate touches and beloved by the kids. We spent the night reminiscing, sipping wine. As morning broke, I found myself in his arms. I realized I'd consumed too much alcohol. Disappointment washed over me when I recognized that nothing had transpired between us. Mark stirred, smiling. It seems we both had a fair amount to drink last night. We're still dressed, so nothing happened. I moved closer, questioning him. Mark, are you interested? When was your last encounter? He responded. More than a week ago. He raised an eyebrow. I've always found you appealing, Louise. You're as beautiful as ever. Do you truly mean that? He affirmed. I wouldn't lie about that. Mark, I know you don't have fond feelings for me, but would you humor your wife? It's been over a year since we last shared anything intimate. He sighed and drew me closer, muttering his regrets. I responded by saying he needn't apologize. He had sealed off a portion of himself from me, and he could no longer offer it again. "Thank you for telling me I'm still attractive," I murmured. He left to shower and dress, then ate a quick breakfast before departing. As he was about to go, I requested a hug. For the first time in a year, he returned the embrace. In a sense, it marked the end. One last embrace before he departed. But I knew one day we would share our final embrace before our marriage dissolved. "I love you, Mark," I murmured. "My feelings for you have never wavered." He remained silent. I trailed after him to the driveway, observing him climb into his SUV. Unable to resist, I waved, and he honked as he drove off. "You're 18 now, Zara, and Matthew is 16. It seems the time has come. Are you making the decision to divorce her at last? You shouldn't seem so eager, Zara." "Father, your marriage has been a facade for far too long. You deserve to find happiness with someone who genuinely loves you. I will inform Matthew, and when Mother returns, I'll provide her with the necessary documents. Filing jointly should expedite the process since she is aware of my desire for divorce. Your discovery of this should not come as a surprise. Did you tell Emily about it?" "Yes. She preferred waiting until our divorce was finalized, but we've waited long enough. We'll discuss living arrangements with Mother." Louise had not deceived our son about Tom. She spent time with him during his travels, but returned home when she wasn't away. We celebrated Christmas together, reminiscent of the past. My family remained friendly, while hers seemed to offer some support. Our extended conversations, after over a year apart, helped to melt our emotions. We rekindled friendship, yet the affection and deep bond were absent. We could interact easily, but my feelings toward her had changed. I knew she still held love for me, yet I questioned if I could regain my love for her. However, my feelings remained different. I no longer cherished her as I once did, and when she returned home after several days, I allowed her time to adjust without resorting to an immediate divorce. My initial hostility had subsided. Having my own female companions provided some insight into her, but not entirely. Emily aided in maintaining my composure. One evening, we dined as a family, and Zara showed signs of affection towards her mother, which I believed was due to her knowledge of the impending situation. Matthew harbored love for his mother while comprehending the unfolding events. He felt distressed, but recognized its necessity. Left with Louise, I requested that she remain seated at the table while I fetched the documents and placed them before her. Her tears flowed upon recognition without even glancing at them. "I can't offer an apology for this, Louise. The only variable would have been delaying it by a year. However, I remained to be close to the children. After I ceased hating you, cohabiting became less of an issue." We never introduced our partners to this place or openly displayed our relationships. I took her hand, suggesting we read the documents for a joint application since Zara is now 18 and no longer considered a child, while Matthew is 16 and should stay until he turns 18. "What would you prefer to do about it?" "It's your choice, Louise. I will be with Emily following the divorce, planning to propose and possibly moving in with her. You have the option to buy me out or sell the house." "Will you remain here, Mark?" I responded. "I intend to stay for now, Louise. Our children are grown, and it's time for us to move forward." "You never wished for this situation, Louise," she murmured, wiping her tears. "I know you wanted a temporary arrangement, but things didn't go as planned. I have informed the other women that I am divorcing you and moving on with Emily." Her words brought her more pain, causing her to cry harder. I continued to hold her hand. "A year ago, I might have spoken words that would have caused you deeper pain. I don't wish to inflict that now. I want to part ways amicably. Emily cautioned me against hurting you. She always looked after your well-being." "Can we remain friends, Mark?" she asked with a smile. "Aren't we already friends? We have grown closer over the past few months than we had in the 12 months following your request. However, our relationship is no longer the same. We share 2 children, and that will forever bind us. When will you move out? I can arrange it if you prefer me to leave. If you'd rather I stay, I will. But you must accept Emily's visits and our continued relationship. I'm not sure I can cope with that, Louise murmured. Then I shall depart. Emily is content for me to be with her at all times. She truly cares for you, doesn't she? I had no regrets until that night. Marrying you was the best day of my life, as significant as the birth of our children. For such a prolonged period, I've cherished you with my entire heart. Please go through the documents and sign them. I'll communicate with Emily and set a moving date. She barely cried. I embraced her and rubbed her back. I was aware that I had just shattered her hopes. She yearned to salvage our marriage, but she recognized that I had discussed divorce more than once. In the evening, following my relocation to my side of the house, I contacted Emily and informed her that I had given the papers to Louise. Emily struggled to conceal her joy as she inquired about my planned move with her. I understood that I would be leaving the house to Louise since she owned it and was eager for me to join her. I felt no apprehension about departing, knowing she would eventually agree to sell it once Matthew grew old enough. The decision alleviated a burden from my shoulders and lessened the tension. Louise appeared upset but maintained her composure. Zara heard Louise telling Tom that she needed time and informed him of the situation. Louise vanished the day I moved in, taking Matthew to her parents. They were aware of everything, even our divorce. She had signed the necessary documents, and only the court's final verdict was left. Emily visited while I was packing. I greeted her with a kiss, then filled my car with boxes and suitcases, leaving smaller ones for her to take as she insisted her house would be ours. Parting from the house for the last time, a weight settled in my heart. Our marriage spanned over 20 years. Though we didn't celebrate that milestone, the house was filled with cherished memories. Before departure, I penned a letter to Louise to bring a smile to her face. The resentment and animosity were gone. It was time for both of us to move on. Upon reaching my new residence, we unloaded our belongings and placed most of my clothes in the bedroom. In a soft voice, she shared, "Mark, I've had some tests. I can still have children." I smiled back. "We can certainly talk about it." "I love you, Mark," she confessed. "Over the past few months, I've fallen in love with you. You've been my best friend for most of my life." Truthfully, I share your sentiments. When did you last spend time with someone? I recently got tested following my encounter with Cindy a couple of months back. "I'm well," she replied, flushing. "When was your last instance?" I inquired. "I held off until you initiated the divorce. I knew I couldn't move on until it was finalized." That evening, she prepared dinner and we dined by candlelight, sharing wine and casual chatter. Post-dinner, we cleaned up the kitchen and she guided me to her bedroom. Unlike Louise, Emily was shorter and slimmer. 2 months later, a month post our divorce being official, I popped the question to Emily during a romantic dinner at the harbor. She eagerly rushed towards me when I presented the ring. At home, she thanked me for bringing joy into her life. I informed the kids about the engagement. Zara was overjoyed as she favored Emily. Matthew was content, but wished for our reconciliation. I chose not to inform Louise during the divorce process, maintaining a distance and resolving matters without face-to-face encounters. Emily desired only an engagement ring, a white wedding dress, and vows to make us spouses without a grand wedding. Our second marriage was intimate, with close family and friends attending, including both my children. Matthew, taken aback but loyal to his mother, accepted the invitation. Louise, who would have been hurt by the invitation, wasn't invited. By that time, we had resumed socializing, and she had visited my home more than once. Emily was tolerant of Louise, yet expressed that her ex-wife lived with numerous regrets. On our wedding day, Emily was 5 months pregnant. She gleamed with anticipation to become a mother, and I eagerly awaited fatherhood again. Mark found his contentment the day he married Emily. I wasn't invited to the ceremony and likely wouldn't have attended if I were. Regardless, I wished them happiness. In the photos, Emily looked stunning. I once harbored resentment against her after Mark left, but those feelings subsided following our heartfelt discussions after she invited me over. The day I wed Mark was the pinnacle of my life, rivaled only by the arrival of our children. My remorse stems from my impulse to propose an open marriage and subsequent actions the following day. This moment marked his withdrawal of love and trust in me, signaling the beginning of our downfall. The dissolution of our union affected my connection with Tom, though affection persisted, as he was bound by his marital vows. Eventually, we parted ways amicably. Alone in my expansive home, with only my son and with Zara at university, I grappled with the burdens of my choices. She held me accountable for every mistake, but still visited on weekends, hoping to restore our relationship over time. Meeting love again proved difficult. Men like Mark and Tom were scarce. My union with Mark shattered a perfect marriage, while Tom was a kind-hearted individual who wouldn't compromise his full commitment. I dabbled in dating sporadically, finding most suitors disingenuous. Transparent about my divorce, I faced harsh criticisms and ridicule. Several years passed before I encountered John, a potential partner. He seemed compatible. We had a relationship, but he was not the passionate one like Mark or Tom. I chose to accept his companionship instead. On Christmas Day, I found his apartment empty. I tracked him down to another address, where I saw his car and another unknown vehicle. At the house, a woman answered. "Can I assist you? I'm seeking John." "And who might you be?" She replied. "I am his mistress. I wasn't aware he was married." Her eyes grew somber. "Unaware? He never wore a wedding ring or mentioned you. I was in an open relationship and would not have engaged if I knew." She sighed, thanking me as John emerged. "Oh, damn," he whispered. "You are an idiot, John," I retorted. "I wouldn't have gotten involved if I'd known you were married." Diane, his wife, apologized to me. "I'm sorry, Diana. I had no idea." I looked at John again. "You are such an idiot. And by the way, our relationship is over now." I never fabricated my past or the reasons behind my divorce. I acknowledge my mistakes, but you are nothing more than a deceitful individual. As I got back into the car, I refused to shed tears for him. I felt compassionate towards Diana and hoped they didn't have children, or if they did, that they were grown, sparing them the turmoil of a divorce. He would likely deny my truth or label me as mentally unstable, but I possessed intimate details about him only a spouse could know. Driving aimlessly around town, I was uncertain where to go next. The children were with Emily, Mark, and their respective families, and I did not wish to impose myself, even though I had a standing invitation. I paused at the house that remained mine post-divorce, yet couldn't gather the strength to enter alone on Christmas. Sighing, I drove instead to my ex-husband's residence. Mark welcomed me, saw my tears, and embraced me as I sobbed. "I keep ruining everything," I wept onto his chest. To my surprise, another person enveloped me in a hug. "Stay with us," Emily said. "You're still family, Louise." "Louise, you're always welcome to join us. It's you and our children who are here, and you can bond with our daughter. I'll present you as Aunt Louise." Mark looked at me, his features not much different since our divorce, yet still radiating the same joy he did in the early years of our marriage. "Are you really all right?" Both of them held my hands. "We are," Mark confirmed. "It's Christmas, a season for family, appreciation, and mercy. I've already shown mercy towards you, Louise. It's high time you showed it to yourself." My daughters grinned and embraced me as I cradled my grandson. Mark's parents were amiable as ever, while Emily's parents behaved politely and hospitably. Matthew hugged me for what seemed like endless moments. Spending the day with such a warm family brought a smile back to my face. Zara, along with her spouse and child, departed in the afternoon, followed swiftly by Matthew to see his partner. Both sets of parents left prematurely, leaving me with Mark, Emily, and their 3-year-old daughter. I shared the recent incident as we enjoyed wine together. They showed empathy and understanding. Mark proposed confronting John, which brought a smile to my face. I couldn't stay the entire night, but Emily recommended a place for me to rest. "I intend to sell the house," I informed them. "It's become too large for me now. I'll find an apartment or something." Mark suggested I stay that night. We lived together for almost 2 years when times were difficult, he added. Now that we're friends, you don't need to depart. Noticing their exchange and smiles, I asked, "Are you certain?" Emily replied, "Gather your belongings, Louise. You'll always be welcomed here." After a lengthy shower, I watched from the doorway as Mark read a tale to their daughter, suppressing tears, reminiscing about similar moments with our own child in the past. Before entering the prepared guest room, Mark hugged me, and Emily followed suit. "I hope we can remain friends in the future," she whispered softly. "I get to spend more time with him now." To which she replied, "Do you still feel affection for him?" She gave a small nod, barely holding back tears. "I'm truly sorry, Louise. I trust you can comprehend." "I'm sorry as well," she echoed. I heard their bedroom door close, and I shut mine. In bed, I detested solitude, but it was preferable to any other circumstance besides being with Mark. Pondering my life and future, perhaps I should prioritize my career and grandchildren and abandon dating. Emily harbored no jealousy. She had the man she desired, and I posed no threat. Perhaps I could simply be her friend. Tomorrow would bring a new day. Eventually, I'd find a solution,